Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that cuts through the noise to get straight to the knowledge you can use. Today, our mission is to unravel something pretty fundamental, but maybe a bit overlooked sometimes: enterprise risk management, or ERM. And specifically, we're really drilling down into what you could call its absolute foundation: governance and culture.
Yeah, the bedrock.
Exactly. This isn't just about, avoiding problems. It's about understanding how organizations build resilience, how they anticipate chaos, navigate it, and maybe even thrive because of it. Okay, before we dive deeper, just a quick reminder. This deep dive is based on material from Farhat lectures. All the content, the examples, explanations, it's all derived from the comprehensive accounting resources over at farhatlectures.com.
Great resource.
Totally. So whether you're an accounting student, maybe a CPA candidate, or already a professional, definitely visit the website. They've got additional practice questions, video lectures, detailed support, really good stuff to reinforce what we talk about today.
And a special thanks to Professor Farhat for providing this valuable material. All right. So ERM, at its heart, it's about helping organizations create value, right, and realize that value.
Exactly, by understanding and managing the uncertainties they face.
It's usually broken down into 5 components, all interrelated. But today, like I said, we're hitting the first one, arguably the most crucial.
That's absolutely right. And, understanding these components, it's not just for exams, not just ticking a box.
Right.
It's really vital if you want to grasp how successful organizations actually work, how they build resilience, manage all those risks they face every single day. And governance and culture, it really does set the stage. It's like the organizational DNA for risk.
The DNA, I like that. Yeah, it dictates how risk is perceived, how it's discussed, how it's acted on. And this component itself, it's built on 5 key principles.
Okay.
And those principles, that's what we're going to explore today. Show you how they lay the groundwork for, well, everything else in ERM.
Perfect. Let's unpack that first principle then, exercising board oversight. So for our listeners,
Yeah.
maybe they're building a company, maybe they work inside one. What does board oversight really mean in practice? Why is it so foundational?
Well, in essence, it means the board of directors, but they aren't just figureheads. They have a really critical active role.
Okay.
The source material highlights their key responsibilities. They're overseeing strategy, making sure contractual obligations are met, ensuring strong internal controls are actually in place.
So keeping an eye on the big picture and the crucial details.
Precisely. It's about having those objective eyes looking out for the business. And what's often understated, I think, is that independent oversight isn't just about preventing mistakes. It's also about actively challenging management sometimes to take the right risks. A really effective board pushes for calculated innovation. It stops a company becoming so risk-averse that it just stagnates.
Ah, interesting. So it's a balance, accountability, but also enabling smart risk-taking.
Exactly. And the material really emphasizes the need for genuine independence and experience on that board.
Yeah.
They need to get the organization's objectives.
Right. And this isn't just for giant corporations, is it? The example used is a small restaurant chain. Even they need a board or something like it for that independent oversight. So how does this scale from that small chain to, say, a huge multinational?
That's a great question. Because the principle is the same, but the complexity, it just explodes, doesn't it?
I bet.
For that small restaurant, oversight might be the owner and maybe a couple of trusted advisors looking at health codes, supplier contracts, that kind of thing. For a multinational, oh boy.
Yeah.
The board's dealing with geopolitical risks, complex regulations in dozens of countries, massive cybersecurity threats, ethical supply chains globally.
Oh, yeah. Huge difference in scope.
Huge.
Yeah.
But the core function, that strategic direction, the accountability, the independent challenge, it's consistent. And without that strong, independent board oversight, well, internal controls, ethical conduct, the whole ability to manage risk can just falter.
Right.
Quickly. It really is the ultimate safeguard.
Okay, so if the board is the strategic compass, how does that direction translate down into, the day-to-day grind? That brings us to principle number 2, establishing operating structures.
Exactly.
How does an organization actually get stuff done, and how does that structure impact risk?
Right. So this principle is all about the organizational blueprint. How is the company actually put together? Is it global, local, a single entity, or maybe multiple distinct parts? And the material points out 2 common approaches for how decisions get made: centralized versus decentralized.
Okay, centralized is like HQ calls the shots.
Pretty much. Decision-making power concentrated at the top. Decentralized means more autonomy for regional offices or departments. They get to make more of their own calls.
And even that small bakery example we used earlier, It has an operating structure, right? Defines who bakes, who handles cash, who decides the daily specials.
Absolutely. It's the framework for how work flows.
Okay.
Now, scale that up.
Yeah.
Think about a multinational tech company. The challenge isn't just who runs the register. It's how do you ensure consistent cybersecurity across different regions?
Yeah, complex.
Or how quickly can you pivot strategy through multiple layers globally if a new competitor pops up? The choice of operating structure. It has huge implications.
Such as?
Well, it dictates reporting lines, who tells what to whom, and crucially, the flow of information. If information gets stuck in silos because of the structure,
Oh.
critical risks can go completely unnoticed until it's way too late. The structure also really impacts efficiency, decision-making speed, how responsive you could be to local markets or sudden changes. It's the blueprint for how the organization breathes, reacts.
That point about information flow is powerful. Structure isn't just org charts. It's about risk visibility. Okay, principle 3 gets into something maybe less tangible, but really powerful, defining desired culture.
Ah, yes, culture.
How do you define culture in this ERM context? How does it link to something concrete like risk appetite?
Well, culture isn't just, ping pong tables or free snacks.
Huh, right.
Fundamentally, it's the shared values, the beliefs, the behaviors within the company. And crucially, it's risk appetite. How much risk is it willing to take, implicitly or explicitly, to get where it wants to go?
Okay.
Our source material gives a good spectrum here. It can range from extremely risk-averse
Like super cautious?
to very risk-aggressive. The example used is quite vivid. Think about a company with zero tolerance for even like a stolen paperclip. They'd investigate that tiny thing.
Seriously?
Yeah, it signals a deep commitment to integrity, right down to the small stuff. Now compare that to a company that might kind of look the other way on minor policy breaches. Maybe you're only focusing on the big scandals.
So it's what's really accepted, not just what's written down. For a bank, say, that difference could be huge. A small compliance slip-up either gets fixed fast or festers, becomes a systemic problem, leads to massive fines, reputational ruin, even if it started small.
Wow.
Exactly. And this raises a key question. How does that defined culture actually influence how employees behave, their ethical choices, how they deal with customers, suppliers? It's all about setting the ethical tone, usually from the top, which then filters down. A defined culture shapes what risks even get noticed in the first place.
How so?
Well, imagine a culture that implicitly rewards speed over everything else, over being thorough. Critical compliance steps might get skipped. Those risks become invisible until disaster strikes, no matter what the formal policy says.
Right. We've probably all seen places where the values on the wall posters
Don't quite match the reality in the hallways.
Exactly. That disconnect. That itself is a massive risk.
It absolutely is. Culture becomes a risk factor itself when it's not aligned or authentic. That makes total sense. It's about what people do, not just what the handbook says. Which leads perfectly into Principle 4, demonstrating commitment to core values. This is where the rubber meets the road, isn't it?
Absolutely. Action over words.
How the company actually treats people, employees, customers, suppliers, even its wider impact, maybe on the environment.
Precisely. This is about deep, embedded integrity. It's not just PR or marketing spin.
Gotcha.
The material uses Patagonia as a great example. Their commitment to environmental sustainability. They might choose pricier, eco-friendly materials, knowing it cuts into profits, maybe.
Because it aligns with their values.
Exactly. It's baked into their operations from design to supply chain. And this extends to rewards, too. Does the company reward hitting targets no matter the cost? Or does it incentivize ethical behavior, long-term thinking?
That's a critical distinction.
It is, because a genuine, demonstrable commitment to core values, that builds profound trust with everyone, stakeholders, customers, employees.
And trust is valuable.
Immensely. It enhances reputation. And indirectly, that commitment acts as a powerful form of risk mitigation. It reduces the chances of ethical lapses, legal problems, brand damage. It's like a shield, but built from authenticity.
A shield built from authenticity. I like that. Okay, that brings us to our fifth and final principle for governance and culture. Attracting, developing, and retaining capable individuals. This seems, well, obviously crucial for any organization.
Oh, absolutely paramount. You can have the best structures and policies, but without the right people.
It falls apart.
Pretty much. This principle is about building a workforce that's competent, ethical, reliable.
So what does that involve, practically?
Well, the material points to key things. Solid recruitment processes, good training programs, fair evaluations, appropriate pay and benefits, and importantly, smart succession planning.
Planning for the future.
Yes. And it's about getting the right people in the right seats. The example given is simple but effective. Make sure your accountant's doing accounting, not trying to do sales. Put people where their skills are best used. It also stresses diversity and inclusion. Investing in your people, ongoing training, good working conditions. When you have capable people throughout the organization,
It impacts everything.
everything, your ability to hit objectives, manage risks effectively, it builds trust within the company too. People feel confident in their colleagues. Ultimately, it's a direct sign of the company's overall health and resilience. It's the human engine driving the whole ERM framework.
Fantastic. So there we have it, the 5 foundational principles of governance and culture in ERM. We've covered exercising board oversight,
Establishing operating structures.
to finding that desired culture.
Demonstrating commitment to core values.
And finally, attracting, developing, and retaining capable individuals.
The full package.
It really shows how these aren't just abstract ideas. They form the absolute bedrock for effective risk management. They set the stage for everything that follows. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive.
My pleasure. And maybe a final thought for our listeners. As you go about your day, interacting with companies, maybe where you work, or just as a customer or investor, try to observe these principles in action.
Oh, interesting idea.
Yeah, how do these concepts, which might seem a bit abstract, actually show up in daily operations? How do they seem to contribute to success, or maybe failure, in managing risk?
Become a bit of an ERM detective in daily life.
Exactly.
Okay.
Recognizing these elements can genuinely change how you view any business. It makes you a much more informed observer or, participant in the whole corporate world. Something to think about.